Welcome. In today's video, I'll be reviewing the movie Queen Charlotte's The Bridgerton Story. Interested to hear my thoughts on the movie? Keep on watching.
What's good? Yeah.
So, Queen Charlotte's A Bridgerton Story is a six-episode Netflix limited series which was created by Shonda Rhimes. If you've heard of Shonda Rhimes, you would know what to expect with this movie. It centers on love, race, duty, power, issue of mental health. It focuses on the story of Queen Charlotte and her rise to power, as well as her marriage to King George. So, what this series shows us is the evolution of Queen Charlotte from the young Queen Charlotte to the queen she is now in present Bridgerton era. The movie is shot around the Regency era and it merges the two timelines, that's the before and after. So, that was before the queen became the queen, and it also takes us on a journey of discovery as well within us other familiar Bridgerton characters that we are familiar with, such as Lady Danbury, Violet Bridgerton, and also, of course, the Queen. The movie centers on Queen being married off, betrothed to the King, taken out of her home in Germany all the way to England, where she used to marry a man she has no idea about. So this just shows us how it was back in the days where arranged marriages were a thing, when women did have choices or a say in marriages. Events unfold, and on the wedding day, she tried to escape, tried jumping over the wall. This was the first meeting she had with King George, which was a very cute meetup. Had a conversation which made her convinced that he was not a complete troll, a beast, or a monster. So she felt comfortable enough to go ahead with the marriage. The wedding night, things took a different turn because he took her to her mansion that she was to stay here, whereas he would stay some other mansion, which she was confused because she was all alone in a different land, but she was only comfortable with him, and the only person she was comfortable with was abandoning her. But as you proceed on into the show, you would understand why he did what he did. Yes. So also it takes us through the story of who Lady Danbury is, how she came to be a fierce, outspoken, courageous young woman, how she was also married off to someone way older than her, which was obviously against her will, but she didn't have a mind of her own, she didn't have a voice of her own, she didn't know who she was until her husband passed on. She made a statement where she said she doesn't know what she likes, she doesn't know who she is, likes her dislikes, her hobbies, because everything she knew was what her husband did. Like what if her husband said his favorite drink is orange juice, that would be her favorite drink, you understand? So she had to rediscover herself, and that was also one of the reasons why she decided not to get married. Also, the theme of love, the love between the queen and the king. On one hand, the king cared for the queen, but he was also trying to protect her from what he was battling with. He was trying to protect her from his demons. But you understand that early enough because in the first few episodes in the movie, you get very, very upset with King George because it seemed like he was charming, he was sweet, he was saying all the right things and just trying to get her comfortable and get married to her. And after that, she just switched on her. Whereas she was confused, she was stuck, she was just all alone and trying to understand and navigate her life. Another dynamic would be the relationship with her servant, Brimsy. He was somebody that was there with her right from time. He was very loyal to her. He was there through thick and thin, good days, bad days. He could see that she was breaking down. He could see that she was losing it. She was fed up with everything that was happening, and she just wanted to go back home. She was trying his best to remedy the situation for her. I could see that with the older versions of themselves, he was still the same way he was. He was still very loyal to a fault. He was still by her side like he said he would. He would always be 5 steps behind her, and he was always there for her when she needed him, even when she didn't need him to. Yeah, so he was a very, very vital character in the movie as well. Story sort of blends the two timelines. That's with the present characters as we know them to the younger versions of themselves, sort of showing us how these older women were when they were younger, how the ones they made when they were younger shaped them into the women they are today. And it also shows us how it was for women back then. They didn't have a voice, they didn't have a lot of opportunities, they were not heard, they were not allowed to be opinionated. But now with the new Bridgerton world that King King George and Queen Charlotte have been able to bring to reality, whereas there's there's unity, there's equality, everybody is treated as one, everybody is treated the same. There's like an integration of society, and it shows how that all came to be, how the evolution, the struggles that led to the Bridgerton of now, the Bridgerton as we know it now, because it wasn't always the same case. It also makes us appreciative of the of how far technology has brought us, how far civilization has come. Because with what King George was battling, and with the unorthodox method the doctor was trying to remedy his ailment with, we see the barbaric tests and all sorts of things he puts the king through, all because he wasn't knowledgeable enough, he was not experienced with this. And like how evolved the world has become, you can you can go to a doctor, you can speak to your therapist when you're having a breakdown, when you have something wrong with you, you can go to get the proper care that you need. Not what King George was getting when he was in need of care. He was getting the opposite of it, because it seemed as if the doctor just wanted to break down his person, just wanted to treat him like a lab rat, or just making experiments on him, and just sort of excluded him from the world, which was very, very unfair and very wicked of him. It also highlights the the emergence of the friendship between the Queen and Lady Danbury, how they met, how their friendship blossomed to how it is now, how Lady Danbury is the one person that can tell it to the Queen the way it is, and how she was always as brave as she is now. She was always that lady, she was always courageous, she was brave, she was outspoken, she was clever, yes, and she was one of the few people that fought for the change that came about. And with the queen being the first of her kind to get married to a king, brought about the emergence of the great experiment. So what exactly is the great experiment? It is where the cultures, the societies were integrated, the races and classes were all united. There was no segregation, there was no division, everybody was sort of one. Marriage of King George and the Queen made that ripple effect, because after that, and with Lady Danbury throwing a ball and everybody being in attendance, both people of high class and people of color, everybody was there, the king, the queen, sort of sealed that experiment, which now led to the Bridgerton of present, the Bridgerton of now, where everybody has titles, everybody is allowed to be. Talking about the costume design and the setting of the movie. The costume design was very, very spectacular. Their dressing, their makeup, the buildings, the dances, everything like culture wise that they integrated into the movie was very, very beautiful. Although I was trying to recreate my own Bridgerton look and makeup and hair, yes, it was also very, very refreshing to see them delve into the Regency era. The scene of the movie was also very nice to see. And I don't know if I'm the only one that sees the resemblance between the younger version of the Queen and the older version of the Queen, and how they merged the two worlds together, how it made sense with the who the Queen is now. It made us understand that she is not as hard as she makes herself to be. Yes, also, and you could see that although the older version of the queen is tough, she's harsh, she's stern, and she's very strong-willed when it comes to her kids. And it was like her sole purpose in the whole series was to have a grandchild. Her sole purpose was for one of her 13 children to, give them a heir to the throne. And that was all she cared about, to the point where her son said that you have never been a mother to us, you have always just been our queen. Because it was like that was her sole priority, to just secure the legacy of the throne. You would come to understand why that was. The movie had a lot of highs and lows and a lot of repetitive scenes. The love story between the king and the queen would take you on a roller coaster of emotions. Because in the typical Bridgerton sense, you would know that these two people wanted to be together and will be together, but it was the process of getting to that point that was a bit tiring. Because on one end, she was losing her mind, thinking she had a problem, there was something wrong with her, she had done something wrong to upset him. That was why he was pulling away from her. On the other end, the king was trying to protect her from him. And the whole thing just takes you round and round and round and round with their even days, odd days. You could see there was a lot of tension, there was a lot of chemistry between these two people. But he could not just come out plain and tell her what it was, what it is, because she didn't know what reaction to what he was dealing with, and he was scared of that. So that was why there was just so much back and forth between the two of them. But when she eventually got to know what was going on with him, you could see how she was very supportive, and she was sort of the light, his light in the darkness. She was the one that was able to hold on to him. She was there with him through thick and thin. She was able to navigate what was going on with him and just be present and make him feel like he could do anything as long as they were together. He should believe himself. Throughout the movie, from younger versions of herself to their older versions, you could see that she was still very much in love with King George as she was when they met, and that wasn't going to change for anything. Things didn't plan out the way they wanted it to go, but they had good days and they had bad days. The love story was very, very crazy journey. The favorite scenes would be the first meeting between the king and the queen. It was really, really cute. Another scene would be where King George had a mental breakdown in front of the queen, and how she was so quick to understand the situation and how to handle him in that situation. Another scene would also be the scene under the bed. That was when she was telling him that she would be with him through through it all, like she was always going to be there. And also that also did like a 360 to when they are older, and when they finally had a grandchild, she came into the room and she was trying to talk to him, but he wasn't in the right state of mind. So she went under the bed and was calling him, and he came and they just had a conversation. And it was also very, very emotional, because you could see that all she had done right from time was to secure the throne for King George, so that his line doesn't die off. And when she turned to look at him, she could see like the younger version of King George telling her thank you for not, running away on the wedding day, for just sticking with her and just being through it all, which was really, really beautiful to see. So all in all, the movie just tells you who the queen is, how she came to be who she is, and what transpired between her and the king, and why she is so firm, why she's so fierce, why she's so stern. She's very set in her ways. And the dynamic between the three ladies, we got to understand who these women are, why they are the way they are, and knowing the younger versions of these ladies made us to understand how relatable they are, how relatable their stories are, and to get an insight into what it was like for them growing up and all of that. Queen Bridgerton is a good story, is a nice movie. Is it what the hype? I'm not sure about that, but you will definitely enjoy it if you're a fan. And if you're not a fan, it would be something to watch that you would like. My least favorite character in the movie would be the doctor, because he was just the monster, Queen Charlotte. Bridgerton Story. It's a good watch. It's a good watch. What would I rate the movie? I rate the movie a 7. If you've seen the movie, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Would you be checking out this movie if you haven't? If you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Check out my other videos. I'll be linked in the cards as well. Let's discuss in the comments about the movie. And rate my look in the comments. Tell me what you think about my Bridgerton costume. See you in my next video. Bye.